Well, maybe they'll trade for one. Let's talk Brock Purdy's toe. He's been practicing for 2 weeks now. He practiced last week. He went to Houston. He didn't play. He's practicing this week. He's consistently third in the pecking order. Mac will throw. Adrian Martinez will throw, and then Brock Purdy will throw. We asked Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch. They kind of give the same answer at this point. It's like, look, it's a tricky injury. We threw him out there against Jacksonville. We thought he was ready. Apparently he wasn't. So now we're listening to Brock, and we're waiting on Brock to tell us that he's feels good and confident and ready to play. So I guess everyone's waiting for Brock to give the thumbs up. What do you think about this new timeline?
It's when a player is injured, irrespective of what a trainer says or what a team doctor says, the player himself has to have the mindset and the belief that he is ready to play and to play the game at the level at which he thinks he should play or that he has played in the past. So obviously there's something to what Brock's own perception is of his quote unquote ability to play or readiness to play that still is holding him back from stepping out there. I frankly, we talked earlier, they got the Rams coming up the week after the Giants. I would, if I'm Brock, I'd rather get out there against the Giants this week and get some rust off of my, get the barnacles off of my ship. I need to get some playing time before I trot out there against the Rams, because that's going to be a tough for him to come out cold turkey after 6 weeks and line up against the Rams in a couple of weeks. That may not be the opening that you would like as a quarterback. I'd like to have a little bit more rust off of me and feel more comfortable and know that I can execute and I can play before I trot out there against the Rams.
It seems to me that Brock Purdy's exercising an abundance of caution. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the season he ends up having surgery on this and he just says, you know what, I tried to be tough. I wanted to be there for my team. I didn't want to end my season, but I really hurt it against the Jaguars and it really affected my play. And I wouldn't be surprised if he missed the Rams game too. I think what the Niners are saying is we have no idea when Brock's going to say that he's ready to go. I mean, do you feel like, man, they paid you $265 million. If you're 75% healthy and you can protect yourself, you got to go out there no matter how it looks? Or do you feel like Brock needs to really self-advocate here and protect himself and the future of his career?
Well, I tell you, the thing about it is I have enough faith in Mac Jones. That's number one. So I'm not worried about that. It's do or die that Brock has to get out there on the field or that our season is in the crapper. It's gone in the toilet. So that's not a factor. And so therefore, Brock knows when he's going to be ready. I've got to have faith in him as management and as coaches and say, hey, when he's ready, he'll play. I can't put him out there. I can't think for him. I can't feel his pain for him. I cannot feel his uncertainty for him. He only knows those aspects, not I as a trainer, as a team doctor, or as a coach. And, when it comes to that foot and a quarterback in terms of movement, setting up, driving the ball, throwing it deep and those things, if your foot's not good and you don't feel comfortable about it and you're not confident in it, you're not going to execute. And he cannot afford to go out there and have a bad ball game, because the game he may lose could be the game that Mac Jones could win.
That's true. I mean, if he doesn't clear the mental hurdle, whatever is holding him back with his toe, whether it's the pain or the fear that he's going to make it worse if he plays, until he clears that mental hurdle, probably Mac Jones gives him a better chance to win.
Correct. I go back, I have to laugh. Yogi Berra, before your time, they used to call him Yogi Berrisms, and he'd have these comments. He'd say, the game is 90% mental, the other half is physical. And so people would laugh at his malapropisms and everything. But you know what? It is mental. If you don't think that you're ready to play, you're not physically ready to play, that is going to just live in your brain as a player. That's going to affect your play.
In addition, he's injured it twice now. Happened week 1. They called it a 2 to 5 week injury. He took 2 weeks off. He tried to be as aggressive as possible. Who knows how he felt? but the team cleared him. He went out there and made it worse. Not only did he make it worse, he looked awful. And it wasn't just the mobility, it was the throwing. He was sailing passes, he was inaccurate. Is it possible that kind of spooked him and now he's thinking like, geez, however I thought I felt going into that game, that wasn't ready. And now I got to make sure I'm really, really ready because I don't ever want that to happen again.
Well, how aggressive have the Niners been in practices with Purdy about putting him in situations where he is forced to throw the ball down the field, forced to be able to drive the ball so that he can gain confidence in practice with his toe, being able to stick his foot in the ground and be able to push the ball down the field and throw it and let it and rip it, let it go, throw it, throw it like you mean it. If they haven't been able to get him to that point thus far, then he is not ready to play. And then he knows he's not ready to play. Let me tell you something. I used to wake up in the middle of the night and I'd do a couple arm rotations. I'm starting the next day, and you just mentally, oh God, I don't want to feel any tweaks, or I don't want to feel a pinch, or I don't want to feel any. The same thing with this foot. And if it's there, it's like sitting on your shoulder right there. It ain't gonna happen.
I feel like the Niners have been nudging Brock Purdy back onto the field. I mean, they have him practicing. I don't understand why he's practicing if he needs rest, but he's been practicing the last couple of weeks. He flew to Houston. Flying can increase inflammation. I guess they feel he's getting close to coming back. They didn't put him on IR. They could have put him on IR for 4 weeks, signed someone else to the team. They didn't. So it seems like they're kind of saying, hey, man, like, we really want you out there. We're paying you a lot of money. I wouldn't be surprised if this absence just goes on and on and on, because the Niners are the ones who are sort of creating hope that he's coming back soon. Brock isn't doing anything other than just going to practice and seeing how it feels. It's possible that week after week after week, it just won't feel good enough.
Well, you know what? Who really knows the severity of that injury?
One person.
Correct. That's it.
It's interesting. Like when I started covering this team, I was covering Harbaugh, who was a little eccentric. And when you would ask him about injuries, to his credit, as a former player, he would always say, you got to ask the player, I'm not in their body. Is the guy getting better? How does he feel? You got to ask them, I'm not in their body. The Niners, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan will frequently put themselves into the body of another player and say, he's getting better. He's making progress. You don't really know.
That's kind of a PR spin kind of move. They can't say, well, yeah, he's a malingerer and he should be out there, but he's not out there. He's killing us. We're paying him all this money and he's squatting on us. You know what I mean? No. If they were smart, they would not try to play doctor. They would not try to play trainer. They would say, hey, Brock Purdy will tell us when he is ready to play. Until then, hey, he has to rehab, whatever the trainers want him to do. And as long as he's doing all of those factors, see, not everybody heals at the same rate. You can take 3 players, all of whom have the same injury. They all are not going to heal identically in the same time frame. They don't have the same pain tolerance. Their bodies are all different. So each person is his own, entity when it comes to staying healthy and then getting healthy after they get injured.
Bill Kennedy wants to know how long for a rookie offensive tackle to make an impact. Niner fans are over the Colton McKivitz experience and looking forward to the next tackle they draft next year.
Well, if they don't draft them early, that I tell you, go look at the Chargers and other teams who put out. Now, the kid in Houston that was drafted from the University of Minnesota, had struggled earlier in the year. But you know what? He did not have that horrible ball game the other day. A couple things helped.
Michael Williams made him look really good.
I was going to say, the Niners did not attack him from a strategic perspective. And then number 2, he gained a little bit of confidence. And then Stroud was able to get the ball out of his hands on all these 5-yard throws. He didn't have to hold the ball, which exposes a tackle in pass protection. So the ball got out more quickly. So therefore, the tackle looked a lot better because he's not back there while your quarterback's having a sub sandwich.
I remember with the Raiders, you guys would play a lot of man-to-man coverage. You had the players to pull it off. I can only imagine if Al Davis were the owner of the 49ers in Houston, watching Saleh call all that soft zone coverage against those wide receivers, he would have like had an aneurysm.
It wouldn't have happened. I laugh about it now because I look at these other ball clubs, and I was talking to another guy the other day. We're talking about defensive schemes. He goes, well, what did you do in Oakland? What did you do in LA? And I said, we played the cat defense. Okay. I got this cat, you got that cat. Now go play. Al was a firm believer and an advocate that you could not allow a player who has ability not to play because he could not execute the scheme you were trying to run defensively. And so we went out and got guys like, Lester Hayes, Mike Haynes, and guys like that who could cover, who could play man to man. It's like in basketball. I will look at some of these guys who are shooting, threes and, they're wide open shots. And they go, well, yeah, he hit a couple. Well, deny him the opportunity to even make that shot in the first place. And see, football for me and pass defense from the secondary's point of view starts with denying the receiver to even be an option in the quarterback's mind. It's like when you're playing Dan Fouts back in the old days, they put 5 guys out in the pattern. Well, I'm going to deny 1 or 2 of those guys opportunities to even be in Fouts' mind as a potential receiver. If I allow you a free release off the line of scrimmage, I'm reacting to what you're doing offensively. I'm not dictating to you what I'm going to do to you from a defensive perspective. And when I give you a free release and you're just a Joe Schmo and you trot down the field 5 yards, turn around and bam, the ball's in your hands. Now you're still 8 or 9 yards off. You're driving on the guy. You're trying to tackle the guy in space. And if the guy jukes you, he's got a 13-yard gain on a 5-yard ball.
Yeah, when you play defense like that, you're just hoping that the offense makes mistakes at that point. Let's go ahead.
They're not going to be able to, that's the mindset of the defensive guy who says, they're not going to be able to have a 10-play drive because they're going to have penalties, they're going to have drop balls, they're going to have bad throws. But yet, this kid goes out there and he has, 5 10-play drives. And you lose the ball game.
Yeah. I mean, it worked against Michael Penix Jr., but it didn't work against Stroud. There's a difference.